Hey, it's Melissa with Sincerely Creative Mom. We're back with another kit instruction video. This was for the Loads of Love. It was a single kit, so just this kit. Loads of Love was the sign, the black and white mesh. Your ribbon tails are the black with the hearts and the black and white buffalo plaid. And your bow ribbon is the hearts, the pink buffalo plaid, and the red I love you. So we're going to take these. These are for your bow. These are for your bow. Don't cut these. We're not going to cut these until the very end, until we have our bow created. So we're going to take these and set them aside. They are 14 inches. They're wrapped in 14 inches, so it's like they're just, we wrap them like that. So just don't cut those. Those are for your bow. Set those aside. And then the ribbon tails, these are not pre-cut for you, although I've already pre-cut them for the video. They come and they are wrapped also. They're wrapped in 14-inch strips. So count them, make sure that there are 12, and you can, just for an example, no, don't cut these, but just for an example, you can measure them, make sure they're 14 inches, what this should be, and then you can count, you should have 6 on each side, 6 and 6 should be 12, and then you can just put your scissors right up there and then cut on both ends. You'll cut on that end and you'll cut on this one. It'll make it go a lot quicker rather than measure out 14 inches exactly. This will be just a better, quicker, it's not going to be exactly 14 inches, but it'll be 14 inches or above. It'll be just fine, okay? Again, not this this ribbon, because it is for your bow. So I've already done that, pre-done that ahead of time. Again, 14 inches long, 2.5 inch ribbons. I dovetailed them, so what I did was I folded it, took my scissors, cut on the fold up towards the edge to make a nice little V there, nice and cute. Take my favorite ribbon, which is the heart in this case, put it on top of the plaid, fold it to find the center, and set them aside, okay? So 14 inches, dovetail the ends, you need 12 of them, set them aside, okay? So for the mesh, we get a full roll of mesh with our kits. I've gone ahead and cut them off, cut them already, 20 inches long. The first 6 cuts, so the first 6 pieces that you take off the roll at 20 inches long, I'm going to use on the outside, and then the next set of 6, you see how they're a little bit different. See how this one's a lot bigger because it was on the outside of the roll. This one's kind of closer because it was closer to the inside. They'll make sense a little bit later, but we need this to kind of fill up more real estate on the outside. So specifically, those are going on the outside. These are going on the inside. We do have a little bit left over. We're not going to use it in this project, but it is certainly enough to use in your 10-inch project. So the kit comes with a pancake bundle. It's the 14-inch, the 10-inch, and the sign extender. Y'all, these are shipped, and usually they're tacked together on purpose. So they just come apart and real gently, easy. So what's left here can definitely go for the 10-inch frame. So we'll set those aside, and then of course you have the sign extender extra. So I'll set that aside. We're going to work today on the 14-inch. Also with your pancake frame is a very simple recipe card to use for the 14-inch and the 10-inch. Again, these are the measurements that we're going to be using. 12 20-inch pieces of mesh, 12 14-inch pieces of 2.5 inch ribbon. We have 2 of those. We have 15 pipe cleaners. My sign is a 6x12. This is what I prefer. And then for the bow, it really gives a mix here. I usually use two 1.5 inch ribbons, and I use 1 2.5 inch ribbons, but you can use however many you need. So that's just my typical instructions and measurements. Today we're going to be using a 6x12 inch sign. Your kit, if you bought this as a kit, your kit comes with zip tie mounts, okay? If you have a staple gun, that's what we're going to be using actually, but if you prefer to use the zip tie mounts, you can peel off the back here. If I were you, I would absolutely use a little bit of extra glue for safekeeping, for adhering. You peel off the back here. I'm going to show you just one, because again, I'm going to use something different. But you peel off the back here, add a little bit of that DAP Rapid glue to the back, and just stick it on. Now, you want to stick it right in the center, but because this is just going to be something I'm going to show you as an example, I'm not going to stick it right in the center. So you want yours to go side by side, directly side by side if you can. So you put a little bit of Dap Rapid glue underneath there, and then what you'll do in the end is you'll just slide your pipe cleaner through like this, and that's how you'll attach it. Okay, I'm gonna pretend I still have that glue on there, and I'm gonna use my clamp nice and tight so it just stays. I start that at the beginning so that if this is what I'm using, so that the glue is dry by the time I'm ready to put it on there. Okay, so I have that set aside. It's ready. We're going to show you what I'm going to actually use a little bit later when we're ready for the sign. But we're just going to set this aside. So what we're going to do first is we're going to add our pipe cleaners. Oh, I'll also be using a wire cutter, a scissors, a staple gun, and the bow maker. You don't need all of these things. You'll see as we go along how and why I use them, and you can make your own choices. Okay, so we're going to start with our 14-inch frame here with our pipe cleaners. We're going to look at the frame here, and it has notches exactly where you need your pipe cleaners to go. There is no secret, no measuring, none of that stuff. It's all ready for you. Let me see here. Okay, there we go. It's all ready for you. So we're just going to follow that right along and put our pipe cleaners right through the outside. So right where there's a notch, I'm going to put that pipe cleaner exactly in all those pieces, in all those spots. There's 12 spots, 6 on the inside, 6 on the outside. I am kind of specifically adding my twist right kind of on the edge where the notch is. And I'm doing that just so that there's a little bigger gap between this layer and that layer. And you'll see that relevance in the very end once everything is kind of put together. So we're going to add our pipe cleaners, and then we'll start building on the outside 6 twist ties first. We'll start with the mesh, move to the ribbon. We'll go to the inside 6, start with the mesh, go to the ribbon, add our sign, add our bow, and we'll be done. This is our patent pending pancake wreath frame. I totally love it. It is based on my pancake wreath recipe. And then I partnered with Damon from Deco Exchange, and we did a patent on the actual frame that goes with the design. So nice. You don't have to measure anything. You just put your pipe cleaners exactly where those matching notches are. Perfect spacing, perfect everything. Nice wood base, so you don't have to worry about how much weight you're putting on the frame. Totally and absolutely love it so much. You can use it for not just this recipe, but for so many other things as well. All right, we're going to start with our outside, the outside 6 twist ties. We have black and white mesh today. It's going to be super fun. I'm just going to ruffle right up the center as best as I can. Ruffle right up the center. My eyes sometimes play tricks on me, and this sometimes looks blue, but it is definitely not blue. It's black and white. Okay, I'm going to come up right back out here, right on that outside only. Put it right down in there nice and tight. Twist, crisscross, twist, twist. So crisscross those pipe cleaners nice and tight. Crisscross, or twist, twist, so it stays tight. I'm going to overlap those ends there so it kind of makes a round, and flip these inside out so it stays kind of flat. So the idea of this design, the idea of the pancake wreath, is to keep a very slender or thin design. If you're from Michigan or from a lot of the neighboring states, a lot of us, I personally don't, but a lot of us have storm doors. So I wanted to come up with a design that was good for if you don't have a storm door, but even better if you do have a storm door. So it would more likely, not 100% chance, but more likely fit between your doors, so that you can use the storm door, hang your wreath on the inside. I don't know about you, where you're from, but where we're from, it's kind of, you know, the normal thing to hang your wreath between the door. So I always tell people, it's totally fine if you put it on the outside of your door, on the outside of the, screen door. It's totally fine. It's a normal thing. Show off your wreath. It's beautiful. But you know, you just get into a habit of what you've just always done. Sometimes that's hard to break. So we made a thinner design that will help please more of our customers. Trying to not leave anybody out who has a storm door. I always grew up with a screen door, storm door, I don't know, whatever you call it. Call it a screen door when the screen's in, call it a storm when the glass is in, I guess. Anyways, so these just go in there nice and tight, crisscross, twist, twist. This was a kit. I believe we still have a couple left in our shop. We do have kits available on all holidays and things, sometimes even every day. You want to make sure that you're on our email list so that you can get the emails of the kits when they are released. You can find the link in the description of this video. Excuse me. Or you can go to don'tmissemails.com. All one word, no apostrophe, just don'tmissemails.com, and you can sign up for our emails there. Our email friends get first dibs and our heads up and a head start on shopping when we have kits released, which is nice. Most of the recipe that we use for our kits are the same. Sometimes they vary just slightly. We might have an extra ribbon. You know, the whole entire design could be different now and then, but mostly we're working with the pancake style. Although, you know, you get the full roll of ribbon, or full roll of mesh. You can do whatever you want. You can make it fluffier if you want. That's up to you. Okay, so we have our first layer in, then we're going to go right to our ribbon. We're going to work on the outside still. We're not going to go to the inside yet. Still working on that outside frame. Coming in with the hearts on the top. So 2.5 inch ribbons with the hearts on the top, dovetail the end, 14 inches long. We cut them 14 inches long. Now, I'm not going to leave them like that. I'm just going to add all of our ribbon in. I'm going to add all of our ribbon in first. And you do things along the way as you're building your business, and you start to find ways that truly do save a couple seconds here and there. And I promise you all those seconds definitely do really add up. So we're going to add in all of our ribbon, and then we're going to go back and cut all the excess and fluff them all in one. That way when I pick up my wire cutter, I can keep my wire cutter in my hand instead of picking it up and setting it down. Pick it up and setting it down. I know that sounds like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, but honestly, when you're making sometimes 15 wreaths in a day, that's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big deal. There we go. Of course, I had to go with the black and white buffalo plaid in this to really kind of enhance that. Sign, loads of love. This is a really popular sign, super duper cute. Loads of love with the hearts. Totally love them. Again, I pre-cut the mesh and the ribbon ahead of time just to make sure we can move this video along. Now, if you are doing the kit, if you did buy the kit, that's why we went over the measurements in the beginning. And then you can pause this video at any time you are ready or need to catch up. Okay, I'm going to take my wire cutter. Not that I need to, not that I have to, because I could just fold that in and it'll be totally fine. But just for the sake of kind of really not getting mixed up with this pipe cleaners, we're going to go ahead and just cut these off. This is just a normal wire cutter. I like this one because it's nice and little, fits in my hand, and I can do it with one hand quite quickly. And it's a, you know, it's heavy. It's not heavy duty, but it's a strong one. It's a good one. Okay, so I'm going to just do that, and then I'm going to take that little stub. I'm going to take that little stub, and I'm going to push it in. Just push it in, just like that. And then I'm going to pull these ribbons apart, up and down. I'm going to pull them side to side. Now, as long as you made sure your pipe cleaner was nice and tight when you twisted that, it's going to stay just like that. Plaid, hearts, plaid, hearts. We're going to do that all the way around. Keep that pattern going. Plaid hearts, plaid hearts. Now, I know some of you want to be different. I know, because I see you and you send me pictures. And I always say the same thing. You're like, why does mine look so different than yours? Y'all, if you keep this pattern, plaid heart, plaid heart, plaid heart, all the way around, it will be more pleasing to the eye. It won't feel as choppy. Some of y'all want to put the hearts together and the plaids together. Look how choppy that looks, right? This looks choppy. It just looks choppy. It doesn't look as easy on the eye. So that's the first thing I say when y'all text me and say, hey, why does mine look different? You know, what can I do to, what can you do to help? I always say, well, yours doesn't look like mine because you chunked the ribbons together. You clustered them together. Okay, I want to be different. Okay, that's why it looks different. I don't care that you want to be different. That's fine. But that's the number one reason why it does. Okay. Now just make sure, the other tip is really just to make sure that those come apart up and down and they come apart side to side. That's another big thing that'll help keep those ribbons right in place exactly where you want them to go. Okay, so next layer, now we have our two things I want to point out. We have our pipe cleaners that are pretty much ready for us, number one. Number two, you can still see that frame. No one wants to see that frame more than I do. It's partly my frame. It's something I'm very proud of, but I'm sure my customer doesn't want to see it. So we're going to work together to make sure that they don't see it. I'm just going to move this out of the way. Now, get back over here. Put this over here because I'm going to keep moving that back and forth. We're just going to take this and now right up the center. Same thing, up the center. I'm going to go right in the middle there. And that inside, those pipe cleaners right in the center that are ready for me, I'm going to not push anything out of the way. I'm going to go right on top, directly on top. Now, the relevance of putting your pipe cleaner, remember I said put it close to the notch, still on the wood, but close to the notch. That's allowing this to have still some, you're covering up a lot, you are, but when you see the layers come together with the ribbon, the second layer, it's so pretty. But when you put your pipe cleaner close to the notches, so this one close to this notch, this one close to that notch, it gives you a little more space here so that you can really see both of those layers nicely. So that is where that kind of relevance comes in. Again, just another little tip that I've learned along the way and started doing along the way that really do truly help make the design, look really nicely. Overlap here. Overlap here. Gonna really help those overlap, and then flip all those little ruffles inside out, upside down. Make sure that they kind of stay right where you want them to. Some of them, like this one's trying to come up a little bit. I'm not going to mess with it just yet. I'm not going to play with it just yet until I come in there with the ribbon and really get that ribbon situated. The ribbon will probably help it stay down. And then if it really continues to want to be, do its own thing, I can always put the bow on top of that particular spot, so that'll help kind of keep it flatter. But usually putting in the ribbon will help it flatten out. So now you also notice on the outside here, these two pieces of mesh kind of barely touch each other, whereas these pieces on the inside are completely overlapping. Like one whole part of the ruffle is going over the other whole part, which is totally good. We want that to happen in this particular design. Again, it helps hide the actual frame, and it helps keep everything nice and flat. And it helps conceal and hide those edges that might be fraying. Now, you're probably sometimes you're looking at your mesh and you're like, well, my mesh is fraying and hers isn't. I promise you mine is. It might not look like it right now because when I cut that mesh with the rotary cutter, I cut it nice and firm. I used a rotary cutter first of all. I cut it nice and firm, pressed nice and firmly against the self-healing mat, and then I didn't play with it. And then once I get this in there, I'm putting it in and I'm not playing with it. It does fray. It's for sure fraying. It's a woven material and I cut it. Not only did I cut it, I'm playing with it. I'm manipulating it. I'm moving it. I'm doing all the things that is making it want to fray. I'm just doing a really good job at concealing and camouflaging what is fraying so that you and I and my customer, of course, do not see that. And I'm going to go right on top here for my final piece. Maybe this piece will help keep that other piece flat, although I don't know, it's still kind of doing its own thing. Got a runaway pipe cleaner here. Let me grab that all the way down in there. Push that mesh all the way down to that wood for sure. Again, overlap here. There we go. Stay in place. Got it all worked out. And then again, even if it didn't, I know I can put my bow there to put it down. So again, nice, cute little thing. We're going to go right on top with the exact same. So far, nothing's different. We're going right on top with that ribbon. The exact same thing as the first layer. But you see here how pretty now that makes the layers kind of look, and you might not be able to see right now, but it is so pretty when they start to layer like that. I totally love it. It just makes it, it just makes it feel and look full. Now, if you're not doing that, where your pipe cleaner isn't tied close to this notch or close to that outside notch, it will definitely overlap more and you will not see the layers as much. So that little trick, that little tip is very important. Even though you might think it's so little, just putting your pipe cleaners in a certain position does help that layering look. And again, I'm putting that ribbon all the way down into the pipe cleaner, making sure it is touching the, it's going right on top of the mesh. It's not just floating in that pipe cleaner. All of my tips are facing out towards the edge. None of them are going in towards the center of that wreath. You can see now already anything that would have been going in towards the inside of the wreath on that outside frame, on the outside 6 twist ties, you would not be able to see them at all. Right? They would be completely covered up if you had ribbons going in underneath there. So we definitely want to make sure that everything kind of comes out on the edges like a sunburst. Very nicely done here. Okay, then again, I'm going to go in with my, oops, I didn't twist this one too much. I'm going to go in with my wire cutter, pick it up one time, all at once, and I'm just going to cut all those off all at once. So again, I'm not picking it up, putting it down, picking it up and putting it down all those times. It's wasting all that time. Now I know, you're probably like, no, it's like a couple of seconds. I know, but when you're doing 15, 20 in a day, they all add up, right? It all adds up. So again, I'm just going to push that down in the center, pull it apart up and down, pull it apart side to side. The same exact thing, up and down, side to side. Now, I still haven't gone through and like started messing with my ribbons and putting them in place. I put the outside 6 in there and I fluffed them like this, and then I left them. I didn't go back and play with them. At the very end, when I'm all done, just before I'm going to take it off my table and put it on the door to take pictures, then I'll go through and make sure every little one is perfectly placed and in the right spot. Otherwise, if I did it right now, I'd be doing it again and probably doing it again. I just know that because I am pulling these two apart and pulling them side to side, I know I have a better chance of it staying right where I want it to go and then it being there when I go back, I'm ready to take the picture. So I just know it'll do what I want it to do when I want it to do it. But right now, I know as I move around, I move the wreath back and forth, I'm going to be placing the sign, putting the sign on. I know I'm going to be shifting those a little bit. Look how cute. I love this one. This sign has always been a popular design, so I love doing this. It's really cute. Okay, so here we are. Your kit came with 2 of these, okay? And now they're dried. Pretend you have 2 of them on. You take your clamps off, and then you're just going to slide your pipe cleaner through there. Twist, twist, and you'll use that to attach it on both sides. I like to do things a little bit more different. I like to just add my pipe cleaners to the back instead of using that. But because this was a kit, I can't assume, I can't assume that you have a staple gun. So I provide you, of course, with the zip tie mounts. Again, you would have 2, and they would be going right where these are. Okay, you would have 2 of these, and they would go right where these are. So I'm going to take my pipe cleaners. Now, the sign is about 1/4 of an inch. The staple is 1/4 of an inch. Okay, if I just add this staple right through, it'll go right through, and it'll poke the staples through on the other side of the sign. We don't want that. So that's why I beefed this up a little bit. The thing I cut there was the side of a spool, the ribbon spool, right? Just the cardboard part of the ribbon spool. And so I just beefed it up a little bit so that my staple wouldn't go through. I've been having troubles, just letting you know, this is old, and I've been having troubles mostly because I've been trying to put different size staples in here and then taking them in and out. It's maybe been a pain for that. So if I have troubles, I'm just going to already apologize. So I'm going to layer that up right about the center, and I'm going to push. Usually I just do one, but that didn't. There we go. That'll do. Okay, and then do the same thing to the other side. Now, obviously, if you have your mounts, all you're going to do is, just like I showed you, slip that through, and nice and easy. There we go. I'm going to do 2 just for good luck. There we go. Okay. And then I'm just going to twist those. Okay. And then now we have a perfect spot. Now, my goal here is to cover at least 4 pipe cleaners. This is my favorite shape sign because it fits perfectly there, and I have a nice spot for my bow to nestle in. Perfect, okay? Perfect, perfect, perfect. In fact, because I know this is going to go where it's going to go, I'm just going to go ahead and wrestle my way. This is always the hardest part, getting those pipe cleaners through all those layers of mesh. I'm going to wrestle my way right through here. And put my pipe cleaner directly through that mesh. I'll turn it over so you can see what I'm doing on the other side. As soon as I get both sides in, I'll turn it over so you can see. But that's what I'm doing here. Get this right in there. And do the same thing to the other side. So before I really secure one side and make it tight, I like to have both sides in, so that I can maneuver it and place it where I really want it to go before I secure a side down. Because once you secure a side and, goodness gracious, and it's in place and tight, it's hard to really shift. So if you need it to shift, or you didn't quite get the pipe cleaners up here hidden or whatever, it's not as easy to maneuver once you have them secured in. Okay, so I'm going to just say, like right here, I'm going to flip it over. Perfect. Just like that. Nice and tight. Twist, 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 twist. And I'm going to hide that excess right inside there. And I have one side good. I just want to make sure, flip it over, make sure it's good. before I flip that over to the other side. Pull it through. Make sure it is tight. There we go. Now my sign is completely attached. I don't have to worry. And you can see that extra little zip tie mount that I put on there just to show you. You can see you can't see it anyway, so I wasn't worried about it being there. But now, it's not going anywhere, right? Nice and secure. Sunk it down in there. Perfect. Again, notice I'm still not playing with those ribbons, right? Not playing with those ribbons. Okay, here we go. We're going to add our bow. So cute. With I went with red, so you got a lot of dark here, a lot of black and red. I have some pink in that heart sign that I want to bring out. I introduced the pink a little bit in the leopard hearts, which I don't even know if you noticed or not, but introduced it a little bit. And then a lot of black and white going on here. So I really wanted to draw out the red, draw out the pink, and put it into our bow. So I'm really excited about this one. It's going to be super cute. This one is like a crinkle ribbon. I don't know how else to say it. I don't think it is crinkle ribbon, but it's like a weird satin that kind of feels and sounds crinkly. I don't know how else to say it. So we're going to go ahead and start with our tail on this. So I'm going to just quickly cut our dovetail on the bottom here. And our tail is going to be about 6 inches on the tail. 7 inches on the tail. So 7 inches on the tail, 6 inches on the loop. Okay, just about 6 inches on the loop. Okay, and then I'm going to pinch. Now, if you have this kit and you want to make this bow, you want to follow these instructions. 7 inches on the tail, 6 inches on the loop, twist. I'm going to come down for my next loop. This always gets right in my way. Okay, so I'm just eyeballing it, making sure those are about the same. Pinch, twist, loop. So this ribbon, or this bow, has pinch and twist. Now you see how that made exactly enough that I needed. 7-inch tail, 6-inch loop, came down for another 6-inch loop, came up for another 6-inch loop, came down for what's left of the tail. Okay, I'm going to pay attention to those 2 loops. How cute that is. I'm going to pay attention to those 2 loops, and then every layer I'm going to go opposite. Okay, so every layer I'm going to put those, wherever the 2 loops are, I'm going to put that opposite. So the next 2 loops are going to be over here. This, by the way, is going to be the bottom of the bow. Now, the next ribbon I chose for this kit, listen, ribbon is sometimes like fashion, okay? Sometimes you wear shoes, at least when I was younger, I wear shoes that I didn't really love to wear because they hurt me, but they were so cute with the outfit. This ribbon is not, it's a good ribbon, okay? The ribbon itself is very thin and the wire is thin. It goes so perfectly with this design. I could have selected a couple different ribbons, and I just kept coming back to this one. Even though it was a thin ribbon, I just thought it was the best. I had the black and white bring it into the bow, the buffalo plaid bring it into the bow, the pink brought it into the bow. It just tied it all together truly, and so I stayed with it. So again, we're going to go a little bit smaller. Now from here, you really got to know this bottom layer, 7-inch, 6-inch. Everything from here gets smaller, okay? So as long as I'm going a little bit smaller here and a little bit smaller here, I will have enough ribbon, okay? So I got about a finger smaller, about a finger smaller, okay? So I'm just going to do the same thing. Pinch. Now, this is like droopy ribbon. It has a good support underneath it, so it'll be just fine. But remember, the color and the texture, the design is what we were really going for at this ribbon. I love it. I'm just so sad it's a little thin. Okay, so pinch, twist, loop, just like that very first layer. Pinch, twist, loop. Now, Of course, because it got a little smaller, we have extra tail, totally fine. But you see how these two loops are over here? I want my next two loops to go opposite. So I want these to go on the other side, just like that. And then just to kind of show you what we're going to be doing here when we fluff it out, we want all those layers to go in between. Okay, so I want to see the heart, pink, heart, pink, heart, pink, heart, pink, and just the same thing. So we'll do that when we go with the next layer, which is our I love you. That'll go then in between the pink. So it'll go, excuse me, I love you, pink, I love you, pink, I love you, pink. You got it? Okay. This layer is just a little bit different. We have a little loop on the top. It's about 2.5 or 3 inches. And then I'm going to pinch. Then in addition to that, we still have, again, our 3 loops and 2 tails. So twist, loop, pinch, twist, loop, pinch, twist, loop. So now we have our 3 loops and our 2 tails. Notice our tails, though, are on opposite sides. Okay, that's because we added another little tiny loop and it counted really as our 4th loop. So I still want my 2 loops to go opposite of my 2 loops here. So I'm going to put those in just like this. Perfect. Okay. And then our last pipe cleaner that we have, I'm going to just, oops, I see I didn't twist that. Make sure I get it right underneath there, twisted. Okay. So then I go lift up here on our bow, nice and tight, squeeze it before I get to the top, lift up. Now, typically I use a zip tie because my hands have been really giving me troubles. Nice and tight push. But since your kit didn't come with a zip tie, I didn't want to show you how to do that with a zip tie. Otherwise, I would just put the zip tie here first and then add the pipe cleaner to hold it. Okay, so now we have our bow. We can go ahead and cut our edges. Dovetail our edges, rather. All of them, all of them, all of them. Okay, and then of course we're just going to fluff our bow, making sure this is going to be, now this is our first layer, and these are our tails. So it's the longest part of our bow. Those are going to come off the edge of your wreath. Okay, so this is how it's going to go in like this. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that stays that way. And then we're just going to fluff nice and easy, taking our, so we can see our pipe cleaner here. I'm just going to bring that up so we kind of don't see it anymore. I hold my pipe cleaners back here just so that I can kind of, you know, keep it grip on there. And then again, we're going to go with that pattern. Remember I said we want to make sure we see all of our layers and keep that pattern going. So I'm going to go up like this. Where does this go? This goes over here. This goes over here. That goes over there. There we go. It's hard to see like this. There we go. And then just make my little loopies here as big as I possibly can. And then those ones I think I'm going to have to puff down because we don't want it to cover up our sign. But these are going to come out this way, just like this. Okay, just like that. So I'm going to just position it. Now our sign is in place. I'm just going to position it so that the words you can still see, right? Putting it right down here at the bottom. So I'm going to attach it kind of right in here, giving me lots of space for those loops to kind of come up there. Let me just see for 1 second. Always the hardest part, getting these through. So with my kits, I still offer the pipe cleaners just because it's just easier. When I'm doing things by myself and, you know, just a one-off or whatever, I have been using wire just because it has really seemed to be so much easier on my anxiety to get those through. Sometimes I'm like, ah! Okay, there we go. I'm going to be able to fluff that perfectly. And this is just darling. So I'm just adding that pipe cleaner back here the same exact way I added the ones for the sign, tucking that excess underneath so it looks nice and neat back here, right? Super nice and neat. This was the bow, that's the sign, and that's the sign. Okay, so super duper cute. Again, let's fluff out one last time. Where did our tail go? There it is. So again, the whole deal was that we want to make sure that all of our pipe cleaners were covered. We totally 100% did that. Love it, love it, love it. Where are we here? And again, keeping that pattern going with the red, pink, red, pink, red, pink, red, pink, red, pink. Totally and absolutely cute. The last thing we do, of course, going around making sure our ribbon tails are all in place. You guys, I hope that you are following us and subscribing to us. If you're on our email list, you will definitely get first dibs when our kits are released, which of course we have St. Patrick's Day and Easter coming up, super duper cute ones. And then it comes with the mystery kits don't come with a tutorial like this, but you can always follow along, of course, with the measurements. But any kit that I put out that you see a picture of it comes with a video instruction, you know, just like this, just exactly like this. So I appreciate you if you're just here watching, if you're just here commenting, if you're trying to learn how to make your own wreaths, if you're, you know, looking to build your business, if you're doing anything. I'm super happy to have you. This is so cute. Let me zoom us out a little tiny bit. I'm going to put you on its side so you can see. Cute bow. Very cute. So it measures approximately 24 inches wide, but still super thin. Perfect to go between your door, your main door, storm door. You know, if you don't have a main door, or if you don't have a storm door, screen door, this would be perfect anyways. Thank you so much for following, watching, commenting, asking questions, all those things. I appreciate you. I hope to see you in our next video and our next live. Of course, we do Facebook Lives, which we'll be doing more of, I promise. And then, of course, the recorded tutorials. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy teaching you. I'm also part of a creative coaching group where we do a little bit more things in depth. You know, Christmas tree decorating, garlands, centerpieces, swags, you know, really in depth in bows, all sorts of different things. So I'd love to see you inside the creative coaching group as well. You'll be able to find a list of all of the links that you might need from me in the description here. Again, for emails, it's don'tmissemails.com, all one word, no apostrophe, don'tmissemails.com. And that's all. I appreciate you, and I will see you again super soon. Bye, y'all.